All those tight spaces, all those flanks. And with that now indefinite invisibility and translocator, you can just set up for so many great things on the attack and on the defense. You actually see the win rates at the bottom of the screen there. That kind of tells a bit of a story in and of itself, and I believe that one win is in the one of the few series that Blank has won this season.
Well, Blank Esports already taking a few chunks there. Note Crazy's ult charge, that's very important. He's going to get a very fast ult charge if he continues getting kills, and a fast Reptile will just end Blank almost instantly.
They do get to raise CKM, but yeah, like you said, fast ult charge. Look at the disparity now. By the time Blank are finally in position to make this push, Crazy is likely going to have that Reptile altogether. Good catch on Perfect, though. Might just change that tune. Everyone gets popped up. Hook goes wide. Lee J gone is just that. As Perfect again gets taken out. Blank just looking a little bit more coordinated and clean here. They had a plan. They execute on it very cleanly.
And the timing could not have been better. Look at Crazy's ult charge again, 89%. If he had stayed alive, if Monster Shield had stayed alive as a team a little bit longer, you'd expect to see the tie come out. Again, that could just end Blank instantly. But Blank are able to push in, find the opening pick. Huss now getting value onto the Widowmaker as well. An easy cap, I would say, very comfortable for Blank so far.
Well, there is that change already. Beppo going over onto the Sombra, and keep note, that means that this is strictly speaking a triple DPS, because we do see Perfect on the Mei as well. That Riptire that we thought was going to be ready for fight number 1 has now just come up.
I'd also maybe expect Crazy to potentially go on for Brigida here straight after the tire. We get to be seen though.
Yeah, that's a dive in from CKM, goes down to a trap, does trade 1-for-1 with Crazy. They do pop Lee J gone. That means the res gets to go onto CKM so that they can keep this pressure up. There's still no Riptire to have come
there
out.
It is.
Finally getting committed here, plus the Mei wall pathing around this one. Now Crazy looking for his target, gets the 2. Huss and CKM both. And Tung in with his Transcendence, trying to save the team. Cannot save Kura. And that means Blank going to have to flag the retreat just shy of a 3rd.
And Blank Esports, unfortunately, look, CKM diving directly into a steel trap. The good news is he did kill Crazy, forced that Riptire out really late. And now Crazy going to go onto that Brigida as predicted. So for Monster Shield now ready to combat the dive out of Blank Esports. Huss also changed onto the Brigida himself. So Blank, they want to get in deep. They want to get in your face. And Monster Shield, they're ready to deal with it.
Monster Shield want to get in Blank's face too. I mean, this is Beppo. Deep as can be, really, even just to scout things out. Maybe going to look for a pick close to that EMP. And yeah, the hack out onto Tung. He's going to be just fine.
For now, anyway, Perfect going to take down Huss, who's a little less fine. And the EMP is so close to being there, Blank already have to back off.
Yeah, CKM is also very not fine, and that means Blank on the whole, going to have to pay a fine? I don't know. But at any rate, they're going to have to back out, and Monster Shield are going to run them down as that happens. And that was no ultimates committed for Monster Shield. That's about as good as it gets on the defense.
Speaking of paying fines, that's ult charge tax there if I've ever seen it. Monster Shield just claiming all of it, putting in their pockets, and they haven't been spending. They still have the EMP. You'd even expect they can use everything else and save the EMP for last, then reuse the EMP, or rather use the EMP to charge the ultimates that they then lose. So a lot of options available. And CKM, it's got to be considerate here. If he gets hacked, he gets EMP'd, no blame.
Yeah, and there's the hack again, just the deep dive on Tung. Kura can't rescue him. Now Kura's in trouble. And this is just classic Sombra on Temple of Anubis. It's playing far forward. It's, you know, cutting off the marching column as it's trying to move into position. Blank aren't even getting a chance to fight. Monster Shield Korea are preempting him.
And the only ultimate used was VK to remake. Pretty cheap. You'll take that. You'll kind of expect that maybe it's a self-destruct it as if it got kills. It didn't get any kills, but it's like it did, because in this case, Blank loses fight anyway.
Blank have finally been able to get into position though, but Beppo is still flanking the backside. Trill's made a good opening, as has CKM. And now Beppo being around the backside is starting to become more of a deficit than it is a benefit. He's not been able to commit what could have been a game-changing EMP on Blank. Now gets it, but only off to the side. Hacked out Tung, stopped the Transcendence. Kura will come in for a res though, and they're still at the full 6 here as they cap their first 3rd as well. Transcendence now out. Blank with that second wind need to keep a lid on these respawners from Monster Shield Korea, while also keeping tabs on the flank for Beppo.
That's good.
Not anymore. Beppo's dead. Tung and Kura though, they're going to go down on the counter dive. Luke is very deep, but it's paid off. 1-for-1 trades favor MSKR, and ultimately Blank have been forced back.
This time MSKR forced to really sweat. They had about 5 ultimates to use. really poorly committed them. You didn't see the primal rage from Luke as he just walked into Trill's mines there. You didn't see the sound barrier coming up from Lee Jae-gon before he died. And then Beppo has to use the EMP just to try and save the fight. Doesn't even quite have the members to follow up with. Monster Shield then start to throw some of these ults out there. Lee Jae-gon does a 3-man sound barrier. Everything barely works for Monster Shield, and they nearly lost that, but they did rescue it.
Beppo is still just so diligently on this flank. It does seem Tung is starting to learn a little bit. Now they're trying to wall them off so that Beppo can get a pick, but he has to translocate back. Dragon Breath as well on the front side of that wall survives. Kura that goes down. That's unfortunate, but Blank still want to commit CKM in with the blade. They pop VK before he can get that self-destruct, and Luke, this is actually a good start. It's rough to not have Kura. It means no reses, but aside from Kura, no one's died. Kura is now on to the Lucio to rejoin the team as Blank still actually getting kills here. If they can get pressure on the point off this, they can start ticking up more thirds.
It's a very important Blizzard, though. If that really works for Monster Shield, there should be a 1 defense. We are seeing now a lot more kills coming up from Blank, and still no EMP. Still, we're waiting for that sound barrier.
And now Tung with this Transcendence, like I said last time, it's a bit of a second wind here. Speaking of second winds, though, no! Sound barrier gets shut down just as he came up to that 100% mark. Trill swings about, slams down, doesn't find the picks. Kura down. But Blank keeping pressure on. That's almost a second third. Yeah, counted out there by the Transcendence. Nicely done. Finally, a sound barrier from Lee Jae-gon as they try and get onto the back line. The dive on Tung looks like it will at last profit them. It did mean they had to pop the Primal Rage, but they don't mind. It keeps control of the fight. It keeps them alive on the defense, and it slowly starts to whittle down what Blank have on this point.
But again, it's Blank Esports just getting some mileage here. 65.6 now. They got about 20% extra more.
It's technically not a third. That's so rough.
That's the sad thing. 1% more and they would have that 2/3 in their favor. But for Monster Shield, again, we are seeing them really struggle in these defenses sometimes. And that's coming down to the fact that they're not really executing their ultimates well. They're kind of just having to throw them out there. And in opportune times, Beppo with the EMP just as he dies. Perfect. The Blizzard didn't quite get enough mileage either. And for Monster Shield, I mean, Lee Jae-gon dying just as the sound barrier comes up, or didn't get to use the sound barrier. So many things going wrong, and Blank get to come in with advantage.
If it's not going to happen now for Blank, though, you've got to say it can't happen at all. They actually have a good ultimate advantage this time. And their last few fights have gone well. They've started to learn what MSK are doing. Trill right in, Huss out with the rally as well. No early picks, though. Trill's dead. This is not the same success that Blank have had. That Dragon Blade took a long time to get any kind of mileage. They do pick Luke, but Kura's down before they can raise Trill. That puts them at a big numbers deficit. Trill is still trying to get back in the fight. CKM does retreat, but they've got no Tung. CKM, he's not going to be able to get out alive. This is the last few members of Blank hovering around the point. I don't even know if they can buy overtime.
They're just going to try and get in there as quickly as possible. Last self-destruct potentially bubbled up. Nothing going to get.
And Dragon Breath doesn't get back in the mech. Trill is in on the point. Pounds the ground, but there's no follow-up. Kura and Huss are already dead. This is technically a triple support, and yet there's still no one alive to heal on the side of Blank. CKM, he is going to stall that out for a second longer. I don't even think Dragon Breath can get here, despite swapping to the Doomfist, and that is one heck of a hard hold coming out from Monster Shield Korea. This is about as dire as it can get for Blank.
Still a decent offense, though, all things considered. It just wasn't quite there. It wasn't quite good enough to complete the cap. They had some of the pieces. You have to cast your mind back to the fight where, to be quite fair, they got the most distance after Kura died. CKM blades in anyway, gets himself 2 kills. Monster Shield completely with their ultimates, and Blank are on the cap. They're getting a lot of distance. And that was probably their best fight, but if Kura had been alive for that, maybe some things were going to be different. Blank just couldn't quite get enough of an advantage. Monster Shield were consistently able to flood back in. Reinforcements, just way too much for Blank to deal with. And it's a game of endurance that Blank are just don't quite have the endurance for.
And it's a shame that that last fight didn't get off to as much of a good start as the previous 2 before it. Could have been one that got it over the line, but 65.6%, it's better than nothing, I'll say that much. It means that MSKR have to only cap up those 2/3 on point B here to punch their ticket on to the semifinals. Keep the run going. Continue paving that royal road. Don't know if their intentions are good or bad, but they look good doing it.
There's two major things that Blank Esports have to be able to do here. One is get a good time defending A, if not full holding A to begin with, but we're not really expecting most teams to do that. Attackers are favored on attacking A. Secondly, for Blank Esports, after getting a good time defending A, then they need to be able to stop that very first snowball push, because we've seen a lot of attacking teams come through after capping A. That initial push onto B is the deadliest. That's the one where they get the most progress. And for Monster Shield, they don't have to get that much progress. 65.6 is easily achievable.
Monster Shield Korea are a team that's great at getting that snowball momentum. All they need to do, like you said, get through that point A, and that means Blank have their work cut out for them on the defense now, as MSKR starting to gear up for their first push. Ooh, good catch on Beppo. And good catch on Crazy.
That's going to reset things. Lee Jae-gon not even going to bother resurrecting any of those. That's going to give Blank Esports some opportunity to just continue this defense up, force the attackers back, rather get some ultimate charge for themselves. Husk leading the way.
If he can keep getting picks like that, they are really going to slow down MSKR. Perfect isn't even able to set up to be an effective counter sniper here. Hasn't had that breathing room just yet. There's the catch on Lee Jae-gon. Now, the spam damage is really just pressuring out MSKR. They've yet to make all that much headway on this attack.
And the tanks are holding up that shield as well. So for Monster Shield, if you are perfect trying to snipe in, it's difficult because you need the rest of your members to contribute damage through that shield, break through, then open up that defense to allow the snipes to come in. But actually, this is a nice adaptation. The wall can really block Blank.
Dragon Breath is already out of the mech as well, so this is already off to a resounding success for Monster Shield. And Blank, despite the good defenses, haven't really come close to any big swingy ultimates, especially not now with these two down. Yeah, can you believe that Beppo is the one taking up sniping duties here for Monster Shield Korea, as Lee Jae-gon also getting those kills on the front line. I mean, this is that team where those two supports are almost like secondary DPSs. They're going to be able to cap the point out without too much trouble after they finally break through that initial hold.
So I would say Lee Jae-gon and Beppo both get an insane amount of kills, especially when Lee Jae-gon is actually playing the Lucio. And now that's that push that we've been talking about, that snowball coming up from Monster Shield. This one's going to be really difficult to deal with for Blank Esports, and the preparation here has to come into effect. CKM with that tie has to get mileage, and Monster Shield have so much to use.
Crazy looking in for an angle. Dragon Blade gets chunked out. Yeah, has to actually pull back. Beppo's got a Transcendence for him, though, as they cut up Kura and Tongue. This is sour for Blank. Self-destruct from Dragon Breath. He won't remech. This Riptire's got to do it. Gets Beppo and Crazy. That could just be the point of stabilization for Blank, because it's already 1/3 over to MSKR. The members that remain have the ultimates. Lee Jae-gon, Sound Barrier, Luke's pop the Primal Rage. This is now Blank's last chance to stay in the playoffs potentially, or just stomach their worst results to date. Monster Shield, however, looking great. Sound Barrier in. Kura can't keep Tongue alive, can't keep himself alive. That means the rest of the team going to have a hard time staying alive. Trill falls down. Dragon Breath out of the mech. CKM has to go Ice Cube far away from the point there and will never get a chance to get back on it. It is the last gasps of breath from a dying Blank, and a triumphant roar from Monster Shield Korea. Just a tiny fraction, 0.1%, I think, and it is done. They have made it to the semifinals against a team that has been so formidable in the past. But this is not Blank's season. It is Monster Shield's time to shine.
That is a legendary victory for Monster Shield as well, taking down a team like Blank, despite the fact that they've been weakened this season, despite the fact that this isn't really the Blank we remember from Season 1 in terms of results. It's still Blank Esports, still second place runner-up from Season 1, and Monster Shield have cleared them out of their way on their warpath through this playoffs right now, already into the semis. How far can they go? This is looking like a grand finals quality team.
And this season has been such a bloodbath. It has already claimed one of our Pacific veterans in Mega, who for their first time ever have gone down into relegations. Now it's claimed Blank, who for the first time ever will not make a semi-final. Right now, if you are Hong Kong Attitude or Matchy, you've got to be shaking. No matter how good you look, no matter how well you've been doing in recent weeks, and they have been doing better than Blank, this is the season that has been claiming the old schoolers. There are new kids in town, and they've got guns.
We've seen a lot of the new teams come in and win. Again, cast your minds back. It's been Ardian. It's been Detonator Korea. These are the teams that qualify in and then get the victories. Monster Shield starting to look like one of those teams. And like you said, the veterans, the returning teams are just getting lesser and lesser in number. There's only a few left to really kind of get in the way of these rampaging newcomers. And Monster Shield, well, with that 3-0, like we sort of mentioned here, going to the semi-finals, and we are now going to get ready for our next quarterfinal match between Hong Kong Attitude and Talon Esports. But that all happens after this break, so don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll continue with quarterfinals for Contenders Pacific Season 2.